What's going on, everyone? Today we have the patch notes for patch 15.5, and honestly, this is one of the bigger shakeups I've seen this late into a set because they're changing a lot about how the core set mechanics work. They don't really do this that often, so let's go over how that's going to be changing and also how that's going to affect how we play. So let's go over the summary first. We have buffs to Edgelord, Kennen, Gangplank, Katarina, Ahri, Jace, Swain, Ziggs, Akali, Volibear, Yuumi, Seraphine, and Braum. And then lastly, Quicksilver also getting a buff along with 10 different augments. And then they have a power-up intuitive offerings improvement. So Edgelord definitely needs a buff. Like the Volibear, ever since they nerfed Luchador, it's gotten like a lot worse, a little bit to be desired, you know? Kennen, yeah, makes sense. A bunch of the reroll stuff, yeah, like they were a little bit weak. And they are also buffing Volibear specifically and Braum, so who knows? Maybe Volibear is going to be one of the best comps because they're buffing it a couple of times. So we'll have to see exactly what they're changing. Nerfing Crew, Viego, and 9 different augments, holy cow. And then reworking Monster Trainer as well as adjusting Crystal Gambit, Samira, Ashe, and Titan's Resolve. Have they adjusted Crystal Gambit every single patch of the set? I think they have. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Go back into the previous notes or the previous videos because that's actually pretty funny to kind of notice. So Shin's Ascent, it's time to take on the mountain to save your little legend friends by strengthening your team and strategizing around your powerful guide, and then utilizing rewards from your journey track. So Shin's Ascent goes live on September 24th, shortly after release of this patch, and it'll stick around until patch 15.7 on October 21st. Should be fun to try out. Definitely looks like a cool little mode that's new to TFT. I love how TFT comes out with all these little new modes, and it's like, if you enjoy them, great. If you don't, it's okay too. You don't have to play it, so it's literally just a win-win for everyone. So now onto the traits. Crystal Gambit. I actually want to see the write-up because they've been changing it every single patch, so it has yet to crystallize into the meta where when played as a high-risk loss streak trait, and we're making higher cash outs easier to reach and more worth the HP sacrifice while balancing out the rewards and power. Because the 3-piece brings more power to transition into Crystal Gambit 5 than 7, we're lowering the power of Crystal Gambit 7, which is already in a strong spot. Agreed. I think I have it in A tier right now. Okay, so they're just going to keep experimenting until it works, I guess. Yeah, that's fair. So multiplier in stage 3 and 4 is going to be 1.25 and 1.65, changing to 1.4 and 2. The 210 reward is going to be changed to a random artifact instead of an anvil. The 250 reward is going to be 1 lucky item chest and 12 gold instead of a radiant item. So those two are definitely nerfs, but you get the stacks more easily. So overall, definitely a buff. The higher reward breakpoints are reduced. Crystal Gambit 5 kill thresholds is going to be 4, 6, 9, 12, 16. And then Crystal Gambit 7 is going to be reduced from 500 HP to 300 HP and 15 damage amp. So yeah, pretty big nerf to the 7. I think it'll still be okay. Like, I don't know. Losing 200 HP is very, very big because oftentimes when you hit 7 Crystal Gambit, you're not that strong yet. So you really do need that like huge buff that this gives. And don't get me wrong, this is a humongous buff, but chopping it almost in half, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So definitely not as stable. You have to get some rewards from before and use that to kind of help you instead of just having strong stats. Crew base rocket damage is going to be nerfed by 5. Edgelord attack damage is going to be bumped up at, let's see, 4 and 6 Edgelord. Okay, they're not changing 2. They're buffing 4 and 6. And then Monster Trainer Lulu level up system has been removed. Monsters no longer gain 1% max health per level. And then Monster Trainer cash out removed from Crystal Gambit rewards. Okay, yeah. I heard they're just getting rid of Monster Trainer and the units are just going to be strong. They're going to be like threat units if you remember that from the past. But 1-cost units, Kennen heal. He's going to heal a bit more, actually, a substantial amount. And his spell damage is going to be reduced to compensate. He's the worst performing tank. Buffs to his heal should allow him to reign supreme, at least become a value supportive tank for sorcerer comps, while a small nerf to his damage keeps him within the power budget of 1 cost, fair enough. 2-cost units, Gangplank attack speed up by 0.5, Katarina ability damage, this one's going to be buffed up a little bit as well. Nothing too crazy there. Both these units are pretty bad in the previous patch, but I think this change is definitely going to help Gangplank out a lot. I think he would be playable. Katarina, I don't really know. This isn't that big. They have to change something else about her. 3-cost units, so we have Ahri spell damage. This one's going to be bumped up a little bit. Ahri was really good at the start of the set, and then she kind of fell off. She's really good with Luden's Echo, but unless you have that, I don't really carry Ahri. Overkill damage is also going to be buffed up as well. Holy cow, are they talking about this? We've been trying to get Ahri into a good spot to be played as a reroll carry, but she's often been overshadowed by her traits and other carries in them. We're focusing on selfish damage buffs here. Okay, so yeah, they just want to buff her up. They're also changing her overkill damage a bit so that there's more excess damage spillover and she wastes less damage. So she's more consistent as a 3-item reroll carry. Yeah, makes perfect sense there. Jace, yeah, definitely needs a small buff, was definitely underperforming. You can always check out teamfight.lol for all your stat checking needs. Go to 3 costs and then look at average placement for 3 stars. And yeah, Jace was like kind of middling, but like his partner Caitlyn at the bottom, the Jace was mainly in the heavyweight builds, not so much in the Battle Academia builds where he's the carry. In fact, in this build, when you run Darius and Jace, Darius just fusion dances and eats Jace, so he's not even fighting. He's just there as a generic heavyweight unit, so his stats are definitely biased. It's not because he's good, it's because Darius is good. But his partner Caitlyn, 4.0 as a 3-cost 3-star, that's pretty awful. Kog'Maw gets 1 more range. Kog'Maw gets 0.5 more attack speed, or sorry, 0.05, and then on hit damage is going to be buffed up by actually quite a bit, holy cow. Leveling mechanic is removed, and Kog'Maw no longer gains ability. Oh yeah, that's why they're changing it, my bad. There's no more leveling mechanic, so they have to buff it up to make him strong and usable, so yeah, that makes perfect sense. Nico mana is going to be dropped a little bit. Nico damage reduction is going to be a flat 40 instead of scaling. Rammus's health buffed up a little bit. His mana minus 10, Rammus's shield buffed up at earlier levels. Stun duration is going to be scaling now, and then HP on taunt going to be a bit bigger as well. And then spell damage applies on landing as well as when the shield breaks. Rammus's spell damage is going to give a little less resistances, and then his leveling mechanic is removed and no longer gains resist per level. So obviously, like, all the monster trainer units are going to be a lot stronger because they start with like essentially their level 30 ability enhancement, but obviously you don't have to play them since the start of the game because you need them to level up. But I think they should just be solid mid-game units for whatever you're missing from your team. If you need a tank, play Rammus. If you need anti-heal, play Smolder. If you need magic or armor shred, play Kog'Maw. Perfectly fine to do. Speaking of Smolder, going to get a mana buff. Spell damage is also going to be jumped up quite a bit. Leveling mechanic removed, no longer gains AD per level, and then innately gains 30% armor reduction. And then spell no longer reduces max mana. Okay. Swain's subsequent heal is going to be buffed up a little bit. So they're buffing both the sorcerer tanks. That's interesting to see. Maybe Sorks are like 6 Sork is going to be back in the meta. Initial heal is going to be dropped a little bit. And then Viego, he's going to get a 0.05 attack speed nerf. Zig's going to get a 0.05 attack speed buff. So they nerf Crew but buff Ziggs. So Crew still should be good. 4-cost units. Okay. Akali, single target damage is going to be bumped up by a little bit. Dash damage going to be bumped up as well. Let's see what they say about Akali because, yeah, Akali can be a source of frustration. Agreed. So they want her to find success in assassinating weaker 1-star offensively itemized backline carries, but shouldn't be the single source of power for a team without a complete trait and item augment. Read Radiant items, and yeah, so unless you really commit to her as your carry, she shouldn't one-tap backline, and if not, she's probably going to be a really good secondary carry. Does that mean the Cassante Akali build might be back? Because that build kind of works a little bit, at least in the past. Depends on how good all-out Cassante is, but maybe there's a way to play her with some backline damage. Like, you know how some random units hit the backline, such as like Seraphine does a big boom, Varus hits the backline. Maybe there's a way to combine it with the Akali. Ashe's spell damage is going to be jumped up, and her number of arrows per attack no longer scales with attack speed. Samira's dash now tie breaks based on units closest to her location, more likely to dash towards her current target. Volibear's spell attack speed is going to be jumped up just a little bit at 3-star 500%. I've never actually had 3-star Volibear. I've had a bunch of other 3-star 4-costs, just not Volibear yet. Like I've had Yuumi before and I've had Leona before, but Yuumi gonna get a small attack speed buff. Base page damage is going to be bumped up just a little bit. So they nerfed this a little bit before. I think it was their true damage by like a couple of damage, but they're buffing up the base damage as like a compensation for that for the previous nerfs. Starting pages is going to be jumped up to 20. Pages per cast is going to be dropped a little bit. So she's less scaling now, more upfront. Pages per true damage page is going to be dropped a little bit, and then true damage percent is going to be dropped by a lot. Holy cow. Is this like a buff or nerf? Like, what are they saying here? Like, I'm feeling buff because she's going to cast faster because of more attack speed. But let's see what they say, because sometimes they sum it up a little bit nicely. So with her claws trimmed, Yumi's been a feline kind of rough. Okay, that one's actually pretty good, which is quite an issue because cats don't rough, they purr. Regardless, we got a small rework for Yumi's ability to have her ripping through more pages early in fights while ramping a bit slower. Overall, our number adjustments to her will make her stronger than in 15.4 while also being less reliant on a powerful stall comp to ramp up. By making her less narrow and dependent on specific builds and comps, we hope you open up Yuumi as an AP flex carry. You know, a lot of videos have been coming out and a lot of posts have been coming out about how flex is dead, and I don't think this is going to fix that problem. It helps it a little bit, but flex is dead because augments exist. Like, you get, let's say, quality over quantity. What comp are you playing that's not Star Guardian? If you get a trait augment, are you not going to play that trait? Like, I don't know what they want. Until augments are removed, like, flex play is going to be struggling a little bit at least, right? 5 cost units, Braum AoE damage, 275, 415 AD is going to be bumped up by quite a bit. Seraphine Friendship resist bonus, 15 to 20%. Seraphine Friendship health bonus, 3.5 to 4%. So Seraphine buffs and Braum buff. Did Seraphine need a buff? It's Seraphine's job to wipe a significant portion of the board, but the only thing she's been wiping are tears. That, yeah, I get that feeling, but when Seraphine's strong and one-tapping the entire board, she is not going to be fun to play against. I'm just warning everyone from the get-go. So yeah, she sucks when she doesn't kill everyone, but she's too good when she does kill everyone, and there's no fine line between the two, right? She either does or she doesn't. I guess there's a middle ground of like killing half the units, but that just doesn't happen because you put Jeweled Gauntlet on her and then she crits and kills everything, or she doesn't and doesn't kill everything. And if her numbers are too low, even if she does crit, she doesn't kill everything. So I don't know, like Seraphine does suck. I'm not gonna deny that. She is like a pretty bad legendary when you compare her to everyone else. But I'm scared when Seraphine's good and then you face like a 8-star Guardian comp or 9-star Guardian comp and they put items on her and then she just one-taps everything she hits, because that will happen, right? If the numbers get too high, because she does that when she's 2-star already with the right items and with a crit, but it's just going to happen more often with the buff. So removed augments, so they're moving a lot of the Tank Crest, Bastion, Heavyweight, Juggernaut, Strategist, Gain the Edge, New Contestants, Tiniest Titan, really? Beggars can be choosers? What? That one? And then they're removing the mech one? Holy cow. No way they're removing. Okay, we gotta see the explanation for that. So they're keeping Tiniest Titan Plus. Yeah, that's fair. But they're saying beggars can be choosers is never clicked. Really? I kind of like that one. It wasn't like that great, but it's kind of good if you just want to hard force something, right? But we're still experiencing bugs with I'll be the heads, legs, and arms. So yeah, they're gonna remove that for the Prismatic Mighty Mech. Yeah, okay, hopefully they can fix it soon and they bring it back in the future. That's what it looks like. So we'll miss it, and hopefully it'll be back. I've actually never seen the Prismatic Mech because maybe it's bugged. I don't know. That's what they're saying, right? Augments, another one. Gold is being increased from 1 to 5. That's the one where you build an item and then you get another copy of it. Aura farming round is going to be reduced from stage 4-6 to 4-3. This is the one that gives a 2-star legendary. So you get it much earlier, which is weird, right? Because normally there's another augment that kind of does this. It's like the one where you have to reach, I think, 163 gold or something like that. Normally you hit that around stage 4-3. So with aura farming, I don't know. This seems pretty strong if you buff it up this early, because you don't really have to sack your whole game to get this. Sorry, the other augment I'm talking about, most people hit it like 4-1 or 4-2. 4-3 is a little late. So getting it on 4-3 though, like for aura farming, seems a bit early. I know it's a bit of a weak augment in general and they definitely needed to buff it, but maybe like 4-5 or something. I don't know. 4-3? That seems early, because winning the stage 4 rounds are so important, and when you get it 2 turns earlier, like that potentially saves you maybe 20 to 30 life, you know, like that decides whether you're averaging 5.0 or 4.0 sometimes, you know? So yeah, this might be a little bit too much. I don't know. Obviously Riot has better data than me. Like no one ever clicks this if you're good in most cases, but obviously there are exceptions. So yeah, maybe they did need to buff it up a lot, but I feel like 4-3 is a bit early considering you get good items for the unit as well. But Bronze for Life, getting a buff. Bronze for Life 2, also getting a buff. Caretaker's Chosen, Radiant item, going to be changed from level 7 to level 8. Care Package grants rewards when selected at the start of the next 2 stages instead of forever. This one's weird because I heard one very high level player say it's very good, and another very high level player say it's very bad. So I guess the verdict is out. It was too good, so Riot nerfed it. Escape velocity, velocity per level up 6 to 10. Expected unexpectedness rewards reduce. Yeah, this one was pretty good. I always take this one pretty much. Give him the chair Dr. Mundo spell damage. This one's going to be nerfed a little bit. This was one of the best hero augments in the game in the previous patch. Grand Slam re-enabled after bug fix. Investment strategy buffed. 9 lives, 2 life reward, gold removed from rewards. 1 life reward, Masterwork upgrade is changed to Lucky Item Chest and 12 gold and a remover. Artifact Anvil and Remover is being changed to 3 component anvils and a remover, so that one's definitely nerfed. Perfect Form Zac Mana is going to be nerfed. Empowered spell damage is going to be nerfed as well. Yeah, that was another really good one. Pocket Recombobulator banned on 3-2. Really? Okay, banned is a strong word. Why don't they just say remove? That's kind of weird. But preemptive protection shield amount is going to be 14% max health at 18. Raid boss health is going to be buffed. Solo leveling nerfed. Solo leveling durability also nerfed. This one, it definitely is OP, but I don't know if the nerf's going to do that much because you either take it in a good situation or you don't take it. And I think the good situations, they're still going to get the same outcome in like, I don't know. I've never seen my solo leveling or other people's solo leveling live with like 200 health and just like barely doesn't die. They pretty much single-handedly destroy the fight or single-handedly don't destroy the fight. But I could be wrong because obviously there are more games than just the one that I play. Starter kit gold is going to be buffed up. Tesla coil, this one should be nerfed. Okay, yeah, they are nerfing this. Pretty good augment, especially good in ones where you get a lot of items, maybe a portal which gives like scuttle puddle or something like that. The tooltip now correctly matches the actual damage dealt. Thorn plated no longer heals based on damage dealt. Thorn-plated armor increased damage is going to be bumped up a little bit to compensate. And then Wandering Trainer gold is being buffed up by 2. So nothing too crazy going on here. The only big changes I would say, or the ones that you should pay attention to, is maybe the Bronze for Life buffs, because those are going to be pretty big. It's going to open up a lot more board opportunities, because like whenever they change this, it's either because it was the most OP thing in the world or because no one picks it. So now it's no one picks it, so it's going to be the most OP thing in the world now if history repeats itself, which it often does. And another big change are the hero augments. Zach, probably going to be a lot weaker. Like, I don't think I want to play this. The Mundo one, maybe you still play this. I'll be updating the website, the tier list on bunnymuffins.lol/meta, don't worry. Items and radiant items making Quicksilver quicker. Base attack speed up by 5%. Titan's Resolve no longer grants armor and magic resist at max stacks. Really? The new effect is grants 10% damage amp at max stacks. So before, Titans was like not a bad like trash defensive item. I say that because it's hard to make a tank item out of bow, but it was mainly good on like bruiser characters where you like want to deal damage and also tank a bit. Now it's mainly just damage. I think it makes it a bit worse, to be honest, but it depends on the character, right? Like some characters do want the damage, but some characters want the balance between damage and tankiness. Radiant Adaptive gonna be buffed. Radiant Giant Slayer gonna be nerfed. Quicksilver gonna be buffed, and then Titan's Resolve like getting the same change as the other one. For artifacts, Silvermere Dawn attack damage gonna be bumped up by 20. Resist also buffed up by 20. So this is the second time they're buffing up Silvermere Dawn after the humongous nerfs that they gave, and I just don't see it being back because they removed the mana component of it, which was why it was good before. And if we look at average placement right now, it's at 4.89. After the changes, maybe it'll be like a 4.6, which is pretty bad. It's going to be bottom 3, right? So yeah, I just don't see it being that crazy, but I'm welcome to being proved wrong. Talisman of Ascension going to be buffed up a little bit. The issue with Talisman is that Dr. Mundo is pretty much the best user of this and almost only user of this. Everyone else doesn't really use it that well. So I wish there are more users of it in this set. You can see here already, right? Like Mundo's pretty much the only one who does well with it. Like no one else does. I'm pretty sure this is just from like a 2 sample size or something like that. But Suspicious Trenchcoat is getting disabled. I think there are too many bugs with it. And then Mogul's Mail, okay, they're nerfing that. That's good. That is a very OP item, like super, super, super OP. So we want artifacts to be champion focused by, really? Okay, I don't like that they're champion focused because you pick an artifact and then it hard forces you into a comp. It's kind of like taking a trait augment that forces you into a trait. Artifacts, like, I know it's unavoidable because they have such weird effects, and I guess it is kind of fun to play around with, but whenever I see Artifact Anvil Portal, I'm just like, uh-oh. But they want stuff like Malzahar Blighting Jewel or like Katarina Zonia's, and Trenchcoat was not meeting the goal. You pretty much just put it on Cassante. He just used it really well because you get a lot of health bars. So remove power-ups, Cyclone Rush. Yeah, that one sucks. I hated that one. Essence Share. No one really used that, but it did seem interesting. I wish they let this one cook a little bit. Fusion Dance. This one was annoying because it put so much power into one unit. Pure Heart. This one was actually pretty good. Wait, why are they removing this one? It's really good in like 6 tank comps, but apart from that, there definitely are better ones. But in the 6 tank comps, it's really good, right? Selfish, this is just a generic one. Stretchy Arms, that was 2 OP. And Rare Treat, that is the one where it was for monster trainer leveling, so it makes sense on that one. So the goal of the power-ups is that they want to have good options pretty much every time. And by removing stuff like Fusion Dance and Stretchy Arms, there won't be one super OP one. So let's see what they do in the next section. So system is going to be adjusted, and the appearance rate of secondary power-ups, more niche options to appear less often. Classy, increased effectiveness. Classy only appears when the trait is silver tier or higher. Desperado, gonna get a big buff to number of attacks, but reduce on the attack damage scaling. I think this makes it better though, right? Drift Duo no longer has stage restriction. Level restriction is gonna be jumped from 7 to 9. Hungry Hero, base AD gonna be buffed up along with the health. No longer offered on stage 3, so you can only get it in stage 4. Reworking Icebender's tooltip functionality. Okay, so this one, damage amp down, chill duration down, no longer applies 25% bonus damage immediately on cast. Chill on first instance of spell damage. Now also amplifies all ability damage by 20% and will apply 10% of the total damage as an initial burst. Each instance of ability damage applies chill for 1 second. So lots of changes there. Probably still going to be good, right? Final boss, only offered after stage 4. That's the one where you get Omnivamp, and whenever someone dies, you gain stacking damage amp. Golden Edge, no longer offered on stage 3. Golden Edge no longer works on PvE rounds. Golden Gloves, weight is jumped up a little bit. AD per interest can be bumped up too. Heart of Gold, no longer offered on stage 3. Hero's arc weight, down from 10 to 5, so it's going to be rare. Max speed, base attack damage is going to be bumped up a little bit. Max vitality, combat start effect, no longer stacks on PvE rounds. Mechana Blade, percent attack speed, 4% of max HP to 5. Mecha Blade stage 2 only. Mech Pilot stat share 80 to 70. Mech Pilot no longer has a stage restriction. If you already have a Mech Pilot, the 2-piece is guaranteed to be your second power-up. Mech Pilot bug fix. Executioners now properly apply spell crit when combining into the Mighty Mech at the 2-piece. That's going to help Senna out a lot. Midas Touch no longer offered on stage 3. Ordinary no longer offered on stage 3. Ordinary weight is going to be bumped up. Ramping Rage attack per attack speed going to be buffed. Shine Brighter bonus damage buffed. Singularity health per kill buffed. Singularity no longer works on PvE rounds. Spirit Sword bonus magic damage going to be nerfed a little bit. That's going to hurt Jin. He was a great user for that. Starry Night health per 1 cost going to be buffed. Stormbender damage percent dropped a little bit. Oh, that's another thing you could use with Akali. Like, if you have a carry that uses Stormbender, like maybe if you run like Rise with Akali or something like that, Stormbender is another way to deal damage to the backline, so that works out really well if you have that on Rise and you also play Akali. Veteran re-enabled, bug fix to properly function after starting up units on the bench, and then weights no longer offered on stage 3. Okay, power-up changes per champ. Aatrox, gonna have Colossal, Hungry Hero removed. Ezreal, Ordinary removed. Ezreal changed to Secondary, Fairy Tail, and Final Form. Garen changed to Secondary, Living Form, Living Wall, and Singularity. Callista moved to Primary. Stormbender, Mage, Powerfront, Precision, and Veteran. Oh, I didn't realize that they weren't already her primaries. Changed to Secondary, Bludgeoner, and Final Form. Removed Kahuna Huna and Attack Expert. Kale moved to Primary, Shadow Jutsu. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what that one is. Is that Shadow Clone? Are they talking about that? Removed Stormbender, Magic Expert, and Kenai. Kennen moved to Primary, Supreme Surge. Kennen moved to Secondary, Atomic, and Final Form. Kennen over 9,000. Singularity and Supremacy removed. Lucian, this one makes a lot of sense because over 9,000 and Supremacy, that's more for like damage dealers, and yeah, didn't really need those. Lucian moved to Primary, Classy, Stormbender, Powerfront, and Shadow Jutsu. What is Shadow Jutsu? Like, I've looked it up on my other monitor, and I can't find any info on it. Are they going to talk about it later? I searched like multiple databases for this, and I couldn't find it. Lucian moved to Secondary Kenai. Caretaker, Demolition, Fairy Tail, and Robo Ranger is going to be removed. Malphite moved to Secondary, Final Form. Malphite removing Living Wall. Rel, Standalone is going to be Primary. Yeah, makes sense. Living Wall, Spiky Shell, and Unstoppable moved to Secondary. Sivir removing Killer Instinct and Powerfront. Oh, I actually really like Killer Instinct on Sivir. Zac added to Secondary, Unstoppable. Changed to Secondary, Final Form, and Spiky Shell. Zac, Champion Augment added to Primary, Classy, Dark Amulet, Unflinching. Zac added to Secondary, Kenai. Mundo removing Hungry Hero. Gangplank adding to Primary, Gathering Force, Mage, and On the Edge. Gangplank moved to Secondary, Robo Ranger. Attack Expert, Golden Edge, Desperado, all going to be removed. Janna added to Primary, Mage, over 9,000, Ramping Rampage. And then Veteran's actually going to be Secondary. Interesting, Janna's going to be a Veteran. And then removing Bullet Hell, Fairy Tail, Demolition, and Super Genius. I'm going to be honest, I've never ever put a power up on Janna before, so I did not know any of this even existed on her. Jin moved to Primary, Stormbender, and Spirit Sword. Yeah, makes sense. Moved to Secondary, Bludgeoner. Kaisa moved to Primary, Stormbender, and Precision. Bludgeoner to Secondary, and then removing Hungry Hero, Double Strike, Kahuna Huna, Demolitionist, Golden Edge, and Desperado. Yeah, these were all pretty lackluster on her. The only fun one was Demolitionist, just to bring back the old days of set 3, where there's Demolitionist emblem. That's like the only reason like to not remove that one. Katarina moved to Primary, Crimson Veil. Fairy Tail, Magic Expert, Colossal, Tiny Terror all being removed. Lux, Stormbender, Shadow Clone going to be moved to primary. Secondary is Kenai, removing Demolitionist and Caretaker. Vi getting Singularity, 100 push-ups, and Demolitionist removed. Spiky Shell changed to secondary. Xin Zhao, doesn't say what's removed, but Unstoppable going to add to secondary. Change to secondary is going to be Singularity. And then Ari, Shadow Clone. Ari gets Keen Eye to secondary. Fairy Tail and Caretaker removed. Caitlyn removing max speed and ordinary. Maybe ordinary could be interesting on Caitlyn. I actually have no idea. I've never tried it. Bludgeoner going to be changed to secondary. And then Darius removing blink attack and hemorrhage, getting Crimson Veil to primary. And then On the Edge going to be moved to secondary. Kog'Maw, Stormbender moved to primary. Kog'Maw removing critical threat, Spirit Sword, and Keen Eye. Malzahar moved to secondary as Hat Trick and Caretaker. And then removing Killer Instinct, Shadow Clone, and wait, they're removing. Oh my god, this was okay. It was too OP on Malzahar. I'll admit that. It's gonna be hard to do Malzahar carry. I'm not gonna lie there. So you need Blighting Jewel, and then yeah, you don't have Shadow Clone anymore. That's gonna be a lot weaker. So they didn't buff Malzahar at all, right? So I don't think Malzahar is gonna be played that much if these are gonna be removed. Nico moved to primary standalone. Spiky Shell moved to secondary. Atomic Regenerative and Body Change are removed completely, and then Champion Augment added to primary, Critical Threat, and Unflinching. Nico Champion Augment added to secondary is Kenai. Crimson Veil moved to primary. Senna Ramping Rage and Precision moved to primary. Senna moved to secondary as Bludgeoner. Senna removed Attack Expert, and then Bludgeoner is going to be moved to secondary for Smolder. And then Desperado getting removed for Smolder. Makes a lot of sense. Not really an attack speed champion, more of a caster. Swain Soul Chipper removed. Whenever I saw this offered, I was like, when do I ever take this? So I'm glad that's removed. Udyr removing Hungry Hero and 100 push-ups. Viego no longer gets Blade NATO, Surge 66, and Golden Edge. And don't forget, Stretchy Arms is also removed. Ziggs moved to secondary. Kenai removing Demolitionist. That doesn't make sense, right? He is the Demolitionist. I know it's not that great on him, but it's funny, right? Akali moved to primary is Crimson Veil. Moved to secondary, Skypiercer, removing Attack Expert and Trickster. Ash moved to secondary, Bludgeoner, removing Critical Threat, over 9,000 Spirit Sword, and Precision. Makes a lot of sense. I honestly didn't even know she could get these. I've never even seen these. I must have gotten them on her offered before, but I just don't even register them as real power-ups to click on, so I don't even think about taking them, right? Jinx removed Desperado, Hemorrhage, and Precision. And then Cassante gets Adaptive Skin, moved to secondary as Atomic and Spiky Shell, removing Ordinary, Weights, and Warming Up. Karma moved to primary is Critical Strike and Stormbender. Kenai to secondary, and then removing Super Genius and Caretaker. Makes a lot of sense. Poppy moved to primary is Standalone. Yeah, probably pretty good with her. Spiky Shell moved to secondary, and then Strong Spark is going to be removed. Rise, Keen Eyes moved to secondary, removing Critical Threat, Super Genius, and Magic Expert. Samira on the edge is primary. Bludgeoner secondary, removing Killer Instinct and Ordinary. Set standalone is primary. Strong Spark and Best Defense is going to be removed, and then Spiky Shell is secondary. Yumi is going to get Keen Eye secondary, removing Classy. Really? Okay, I thought Classy had promise on Yumi. Fairy Tail, Power Front, and Caretaker all gone, and then Brahm's getting Crimson Veil to primary. Bludgeoner and Critical Threat secondary, and then removing Efficient, Colossal, Attack Expert, Serious Slam, Standalone, Living Wall, Strong Spark, and Weights. Echo over 9,000 removed. Wait, how is that even possible? Gwen getting Ramping Rage to primary, moving Keen Eye, Skypiercer, and Solar Breath to secondary. Skypiercer is very interesting on Gwen. Maybe that could be a cool thing to try if you don't have penetration on her. Removing Colossal and Tiny Terror. Lee Sin, Gathering Force, and Warming Up to primary. Skypiercer to secondary, removing Blade NATO, Attack Expert, Blink Attack, Golden Edge, and Serious Slam. Seraphine moved up to secondary, Keen Eye, and Ramping Rage. Twisted Fate no longer gets Demolitionist. Probably too good in certain situations, right? But also not good in a lot, too, if you have him full damage. Varus getting Hyperactive and Precision removed. Yone, Tankzilla, and Desperado removed. Zyra getting Keen Eye to secondary and removing Efficient and Hyperactive. That's a lot. Yeah, some weird changes there. I think the most important one is the Malzahar one, but yeah, I mean, I'll be updating what power-ups to take on the website, bunnymuffins.lol anyway, so just look at that. Gonna be a lot simpler. But bug fixes, what's that sound? Rammus will no longer permanently play a SFX when he dies with his shield active. Mighty Mech can critically strike when given the Executioner trait. Items can no longer rarely be deleted when selling units immediately after equipping them. Never happened to me, sorry if that happened to you. Ice Spender functions on ghost armies. Dazzling displays tooltip corrected to state it reduces % damage of enemies. Grand Slam properly makes luchadors jump at the start of combat. Tiny but Deadly, properly re-enabled. Giant and Mighty, properly re-enabled. I noticed that they said last patch that these were added in, but I never actually saw them, so I guess that's why they just forgot, or like something happened that prevented it. Double Trouble now grants a 2-star unit if a champion is 3-starred while on the bench. Pumping Up 2 now displays the correct starting value in the Augment card. Drift Duo now properly applies +1 mech when Senna is the one with the power-up. No longer provides its bonus if you remove Senna or Lucian after they're both 3-starred. Ari no longer loses her cast if her target becomes untargetable during her initial cast time. She'll now redirect to a new target immediately. And then Psychic Forge and Quality over Quantity are now mutually exclusive. Yeah, I guess sure. That makes sense, right? All right, so obviously lots of changes. How's the meta going to be shaped up? Well, I'm glad Viego's like super nerfed. If they removed stretchy arms though, did they even need to nerf Viego? That's my question there. Maybe, maybe not. I'm hoping Gangplank's back. It was a fun build and they just nerfed it way too hard. So hopefully it's like at least playable right now. Crystal Gambit 7, yeah, not going to be the same in my book. Seraphine, I'm actually scared of Seraphine. I think she's going to be very strong. And then like the Monster Trainer change, I think it's good. Like definitely use the Monster Trainers in the mid game now. Before they're useless if you weren't going for the reroll for them already. We'll have to see how the actual reroll comp works though now, so that you don't have to stack them. Hopefully those are still going to be decent at least, but we'll have to see. I'll be data checking on teamfight.lol for that. Just go to the champion section and then sort by star level. And then for the other comps, like I think Volibear might be decent enough. He did get buffed quite a bit. The Edgelord buff wasn't that big, but everything adds up. And then Volibear also getting some juice and Braum getting some juice definitely helps. Jace Caitlyn might be back. Katarina, I don't think is back. Like probably not. Ari, probably still good, right? And then Akali, I'm interested to see what people cook up for her. But I'll be updating the tier list on bunnymuffins.lol on Friday, so definitely look out for that. Video comes out. Sometimes it comes out Thursday, sometimes it comes out Friday. I think we'll do Friday for this week. But yeah, the website should be updated when the patch comes out tomorrow, so definitely look out for that. Going to be updating that pretty much every day. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to get to as many as I can. But that's going to be it for me today. Hope to see you all next time.